So that those who, hello, anybody who's gonna listen to this.
You want to sit over here or this? Are you
It's
you don't
not
have to
gonna
look
be fabulous.
Yeah.
As long as I let go.
Put it up on something high.
Yeah, it would be better. Why don't you pull that table off?
Yeah, and then how I got. We've got, think of what we've gotten into now. It's like, okay. You need, and what's your background and, you know.
Well, I'll tell you, I never in my entire existence believed I'd know how to do any of these things except when COVID hit. Y'all know I'm a pastor of a church. I was. And when COVID hit, you know, everything stopped.
Yeah.
And so we pastors had to learn tech next. We were up and running within a week of being told we were closed down.
What church?
Most recently, I was at Trinity Episcopal Church in Janesville, Wisconsin.
Oh, okay.
Previous to that, I was in Rapid City, South Dakota.
Oh, nice.
And Austin, Texas.
Oh,
I had a contract to do out in Rapids, or I could have done it.
Yeah,
And I thought about going out there for a 13-week
Yeah.
gig, but I was like. I didn't do it. I wish I'd done it now, but.
it's a gorgeous part of the world.
Yeah.
Absolutely fabulous.
You got enough room there, ladies?
You gotta look close enough.
And we need more.
Yeah.
Phyllis, you're right.
Let's pull up another chair.
Sure, John. Phyllis.
Yeah.
I'm Tammy the grandparent.
Yeah.
One more
Phyllis.
What are you doing?
If I push back, will that mess it up?
No,
You are.
get the most of us and. We're just recording.
Perfect.
Whoever wants to watch it. can watch it.
Just send it.
Yeah, what's that?
Yeah.
There used to be Starbucks. I went to where it used to be. It used to be France and.
Well, that's what I thought. I thought it was Caribou over there, so I went to Caribou.
Was that Caribou?
That's like a, it's like a, it's like a,
I
it's
thought
like
it
a
was
meat place
Starbucks.
now or something.
I know.
Yeah.
No, I had to look it up. It's like, what if I?
Yeah.
It did all, I've been going in circles. It's funny, I knew it was here, but when I was doing, you know, Starbucks.
Yeah, I had to search for the actual address.
That's
Don
right.
Montgomery,
And I
Kathy
am,
Bonson.
I am
Katie
just
Williams.
asking as the writer name
I don't
down,
give a
but
shit.
that's really helpful. It helps me remember things. So maybe it'll help you. All right. And if you want a piece of paper where I wrote notes on, I have those for you, but I never wanted to feel too, you know, too organized.
Well, we love it. You're already impressed.
Yeah, a lot of people.
That's the only thing I know how to do.
Oh,
All right, so we'll put a name
But if
here.
you just put your name on there, then I'll know who you were.
You
and-
have yours, right?
Is the.
Yeah.
Well, I can use this. These, yeah.
I have been studying that book.
Your books.
Well, thank you for coming.
Yeah.
And I had just very, briefly said that I agreed to coordinate this under certain conditions. And those conditions are, we're gonna keep it simple. Perfect.
Got it.
Complexity is not a place I think I need to be, in this part of my life, and I'm hoping you don't either, so. Simple, straightforward, fun. Perfect. That's all I'm interested in. Having a place where people can gather and talk.
Like that.
Yeah.
So that's the way I like to do it. What I would like to do is just, and I hope this is okay, go around the circle, say our names, and a little bit about how we find ourselves here. So Kathy Munson Lutz. I am, I retired a year ago, from being a pastor of the church in Janesville, Wisconsin, so that I can move back where all of my family is. My husband died, and I was lonely. I didn't want to be off on my own anymore, so So I decided I'd come back. The way to do that was to retire. I am so glad I did, and so glad I'm here, and I'm so glad I can be helpful in some small ways. So, there you go, John.
Oh, okay. So John Lonsbury, I never left. And, I'm joking about that. Never figured out how to get S494 or whatever it was. Yeah.
Shield that you
Yeah,
found.
he bounced
Yeah.
back. Married to the same wife, 2 grown sons, 6 granddaughters. I'm still working. So,
Are you good? Felton?
Yeah, that's a good plan.
Yeah, is there any more chairs?
Yeah, but this.
That's.
I can recognize some faces.
You girls.
Yeah, we can actually get rid of a table too.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness, right now.
That's great.
I want your chair. I was gonna be here early, but I was going to circles.
Pretty soon, the whole class will show up.
Say your name, Mike.
Mike, how you doing? Tom. Tom, I mean Larry Hoskins. Larry. Larry Hoskins. Tom
We are
Severy.
recording here on Zoom
Okay.
for anybody
Oh, wow.
who wants.
Oh,
So
alright.
I will send it off to those who can't be here. There were a couple people who
Need a crank.
responded and they live on the coasts and, oh, sweet, so yay. So we are doing this very mundane thing about going around the circle, saying our names and a smidgen about us, so John was just finished.
yeah, real quick, John Lonsbury is still here and, happy to be here. Thank you. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
Sue Harmon Woolsey Dornbelt, hello. So you know my whole past. Let's see, Stella stayed in Edina for a long time and then recently moved out to Colorado for 5 years. My daughter Shannon and grandkids are there. And now we're back. Prairie. Got a little shaky when I went past 494 and Highway 100, but I made it there. And then we have a son, my husband and I have a son, Nicholas, who's 25 in K-State. So also retired from the airlines after 40 years, about 5 years ago. And so same thing, love it, retirement. Be back.
I'm Barb Shelton. Not quite retired yet, can't quite use that R word. I'm a casting director for commercials, live in South Minneapolis. And that's about it.
Yeah, right. Kim Carpenter Dulas, and I do still live in Edina. John haven't made it out of here, so we do travel a fair amount, which is nice to get out of here once in a while. Have 3 daughters, 3 grandchildren, and I still work part-time. I work for Tim Mahoney, who is in our class. We do films and TV commercials and web videos, and that kind of thing. So I still enjoy working part-time for Tim.
Phyllis Nismeyer, baby. I live in Bloomington. I have 1 daughter, 2 grandkids. And lived in Utah for a while, Colorado for a while, but I missed home. So I came back to Minnesota. Retired. 2015 I retired. So, yeah, just got to get a job. So,
And you travel.
yes, I travel. So, that's fun. Yeah. I live in Bloomington.
That's very.
So I'm Dave Kramer. I'm on my second wife. I live in West Bloomington in the house she grew up in. On 99th Street, right by kind of by Lund's in Bloomington.
I'm not very far from you at all.
Yeah. Let's see. I have been a nurse at 55 years old. I got my nursing degree and Spanish degree from the U of M. And started out with the Mayo group down in Lake City, Minnesota, then I went to Health East, which kind of Fairview bought, and then I was with Fairview. And I was a contract nurse at North Memorial for just a little bit, and then I worked at the ER at Methodist, which I've been doing for about 5 years now, something like that. So I've been a nurse for about 12 or 15 years, so I don't know.
What were you before?
I had
What
my,
you do, not what were you?
well, when I was a young man, I worked for State Farm Insurance, and then I wanted to be in sales, so my brother said, why don't you sell cars? So I sold cars for a little while, then I had my own business. I sold extended warranties and credit insurance to car dealers and credit unions. And I went to all the small little places, Roseau, Minnesota, International Falls. I traveled, just did all that for a while. And then decided I want to do some mission work, so I got my nursing degree and Spanish degree, and my wife is now also a nurse, so we travel a lot, and then we do also medical mission work, so.
I'm Savory. I didn't wait as long as David to go back to school. I went back to university when I was about 30 and got a biology degree.
Yeah.
And I ended up being a wildlife biologist for most of my career. There's a lot of other parts of the story, but I lived up in northern Minnesota for a while. I've done work in Hawaii, back here now. Almost a full career bachelor, but I got married about 9 years ago, and my partner and I live in Crystal.
Larry Hoskins, live in Savage now. Lived in Lakeville for about 20 years, and then we finally got rid of all the kids. And decided to downsize, and so we moved there last September, so I've been across the river for a long time. This is I've been married most of my life, this is my third wife. But we've been together for 20-some years. And I have, with her, we have 7 daughters. And she has 4, I have 3. We have 4 grandkids. Thank God the first one was a boy. And he lived with us for about the first 4.5 years of his life, so he was like the son I never had, and he lives in Shakopee still. I just saw him this weekend. And I have a financial advisor. I've been doing that for 20-some years now. And I'm with a little private shop in Golden Valley, and RBC is downtown, is our broker dealer. And that's about it. I golf all the time, and just had one of the daughters get married 2 weeks ago. So got married down in Cocoa Beach in Florida. And then 21 of us went on a cruise for a week afterwards.
Oh, wow.
So the grandkids and all the sisters and all the boyfriends and husbands, and so it was a lot of fun. So anyway, drive by Edina every day. So I work in Golden Valley, right in the West End area. So that's about it.
Williams Anderson, geez. I think I left Minnesota right after high school, went to culinary school out east, then traveled around and came back to the States. Lived in Grand Marais, Minnesota for 6 years. And married my husband Colin Anderson, who was a year behind us. And then we moved to Coverdale, Colorado. Spent 3 to 5 years out there. Came back here and
She lives in a big house in the Aspen, don't you?
no, we're 25.
I know. She's just saying, everybody says they live in Carbondale, but they actually.
Nobody used to know what Carbondale was. It was only this real small community back in the day. But anyhow, so we're here and there. So we have a house down here in Junction. Well, our girls came here to go to college in the state. So now we have 2 granddaughters. So I'm staying here as long as our school.
Thank you. Good to know you all. I mean, I think that that's what I look forward to is, is these opportunities to know one another. I don't know, in my, next new chapter here in life, I have been reflecting on past relationships and what those mean and how important it is to, make and remake connections. And, that's just the why for me, why I said yes to doing this horrible, awful thing.
We'll make it easy.
Coordinating this. And I am just so happy, to be back in Minnesota and, living close, to those very early connections. Tom and I lived down the street
Fairfax.
in those early days. So it's just wonderful.
Your mom was my Girl Scout leader.
You bet she was everybody. She was.
I was at your house many times.
Yes, yes. She was beloved by many young women. When she died, I just couldn't believe this happened. Many of her former Girl Scouts showed up and told me about the impact that she had on their lives. And, oh my goodness gracious. That's an amazing thing.
Yeah.
And that's part of what, I'm part of the connection. I did mention as we began to gather that my goal in our 50th reunion is to keep it simple. And it's to provide an opportunity for people to gather and connect. And you know, that means different things to different people. What it means to me is really having a venue that helps us do that. And that does not create all sorts of, you know, confusion, conflict, and all of that, you know. And another value of mine, and this is based on experience, is that I've not been able to get back to reunions for usually for two reasons. One is the travel cost, and one is the cost.
Yeah.
And I just think that it's really important that we keep that in mind. Because at 50 years, I think we want everybody to come, no matter what's our cost. So if we can keep that low and figure out how to do that, that would be great. I mean, we are retired and many of us, and for some, that's a wonderful thing with a good income. For some, it's not. And that's which is
I was just gonna jump in and say, and I contacted the year ahead of us before their reunions this August.
Yeah.
And so certainly would, they're having Anna Bramer, would be a coordinator with them to say what went well, what was, you know, I mean, just kind of an idea. They've done it, if it worked well with this topic.
Yeah, no,
I mean, you know, I mean, if it's
there is
easy,
no
why reinvent it, yeah.
I did when I first thought about being the coordinator of this event. I have thought it would be really fun to have this in a brewery, an event space in a brewery. And I think that that's, there's advantages to that. One is that it's nobody's, right? Nobody's got a claim on a space like that. I've looked into a couple of things. I looked into the one in Edina, wooden.
The one that's kind of been near you.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just too small.
Yeah, okay.
Otherwise, that would have been like the perfect thing.
Yeah.
But it's too small. What the advantages to something like that are that we could book food trucks. And people would then be responsible for their own food. And they would also be responsible for whatever it is they wish to drink.
Well, that's what makes the cost high. On the 40th, our whole goal was to keep it relaxed.
Yeah.
keep the cost really low and, get as many people. So we have only a handful of people we didn't find.
Right, I see
And
that.
there were tons of people who'd never been to any of the reunions.
What was your cost? Do you remember?
Well, we had a set price that had, and you had to pay in advance.
Yes.
And, you know, so there was the cost of the, getting the food from Pinstripes, and somebody researched all that, and then the options for beer and wine, and then the rental. So those are all the factors that we couldn't get that lower. In fact, Jim worked really hard. He might have pressed on a few of us in this group to donate to keep the costs low and keep the quality high.
Yeah.
So he had a huge long list of people, I think, that had done donations.
Yeah, so we were,
So I think we have a good list of where people are and how to find them
yes.
from the 40s.
So I did have the opportunity to meet with Jim and Beth Schaefer, you know, supervisors board. Who are like amazing people, who keep amazing records. So I have much from them as far as what they did, how they did it, and I am really completely, I think, to Beth and shoot to track down anybody who's left. To track down.
Seriously, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I've never seen people who are so relentless in finding them. So, I'm not worried about that one.
Good. So that's kind of an area that you feel is covered by people.
I do, the tracking down.
Okay,
Right.
yeah, so that's.
I think it is. Anybody who wants to join them in that relentlessness is perfectly willing, you know, welcome to do so.
Well, the other thing I'd shared with Kathy and with Jim is that I did some preliminary checking. We're just too early to get anything nailed down.
Exactly. To get anything nailed down, but we're not too early in doing the research. Yeah.
Well, except if you can't have a weekend night at a venue, we think.
Yeah.
Then we can't, which is why a brewery sounds good or something.
Yeah, right.
Besides,
I did get-
yeah, not till February of next year.
Seriously.
Yes.
Isn't that weird?
So I did, so I reached.
Yeah. And the Hughes Pavilion,
You did Highlands too?
in Highland, I did Highland, but I didn't meet with Suzanne. I don't think they could do it. The other place I checked was up at Trailhead of the theater work, because I love going there.
Yeah.
But, and they were willing to talk, but I thought, well, I'll just do some preliminary, because I thought one of the biggest challenges is to find a date. You know, what time are we doing? Yes, we can build from that.
Yeah. I do like where, I don't know how many people have been up to the trailhead and you up there, that is a great.
Is that, what's the space like?
Theater work, it's a big, huge building.
Steve Trailhead building.
Yeah, and then they do music every Friday night, but Friday nights you can't have it. And, so it's a big interior space. I don't think it's as big as the Hughes Pavilions.
Was it big enough? How many people were you talking about?
Yeah, a couple hundred.
Yeah.
I bet I was sort of calculating this one day, I think there's like 350 left or something like that.
Yeah. So I think the number for you guys
Yeah, for
was
you.
just shy of the folks who actually showed up. It was between about 175 and the 200. One of them shot me a figure of,
Was it 40?
yeah, for the 40, yeah.
Was anybody here doing it? Were you on the 40? Here? Okay. And Phyllis, no, okay.
No.
So these are just a couple of places I researched. Oh, I forgot to send this. And these are breweries. Okay. But some of them, you know, clearly aren't a big enough space for us. Typical has a big
Three
enough.
Rivers, like Highland.
No. No, the trailhead up at Theater Worth.
Oh, Theater.
Up in Golden Valley.
But they were pretty good.
Yeah, the chalet, I mean, any of the things.
We went to a wedding at the Highland Hills one, it's a brand new building.
Yes,
brand new
yes.
space. And it's pretty and it's easy, free parking,
And they have a big outdoor deck,
yeah.
which is really nice. Yeah, in fact, Barb knows this on Wednesdays now in the summer, it's kind of fun. They have bands that'll play and then just some easy you know, and food out there that you can sit out. It's a great space.
Say more about the food you set out. Say
Oh,
more about
there,
that.
the food, they have food. At Highlands, just like, you know, they didn't have, food trucks, but they have, you know, just tacos and all
Oh,
that.
they-
But I like the idea also of, but that's the trucks that come sort of help themselves. You know, 9 times out of 10, people. It's nice to have it available, but it's.
Oh,
not
and-
very-
Depends on what time you have it. too.
Yeah,
You know, if it's set up as either a cocktail hour or a after dinner thing, you don't have to worry about
I
it.
didn't even
Right,
think
you
of
know,
yeah,
that.
so
depending
that's
on how you set
time of
it.
day.
Yeah, so time of day, I didn't even consider that.
Yeah.
Anybody,
6 o'clock, people are gonna think, well, I'm probably gonna get to
Yeah,
eat,
yeah.
but if it's 7:30, then it's like, well, I better grab something before, I don't.
true,
That's it.
yeah. Is anybody a brewery aficionado? Everybody go to all these? that-
One of the nurses I work with, she owns Hacken Mueller, Hacken something, I don't know, it's a bit of.
You know where it is.
She, I don't know, she invites me to it all the time, but I don't know where it is, I'll probably.
So my,
There's a million breweries.
my brother's a part owner in Loose Line,
Okay.
up by you guys in,
Plymouth,
yes,
where that is.
yeah, that's in Plymouth.
That's a big place.
It's a big place. I'm not sure if it has a big enough space for, I mean, they'd have to close down.
Yeah, they'd have to be private.
Right,
Yeah.
and some of these places like Uticles has a tap room that, and that they already have food trucks all scheduled for theirs. And so, an advantage for us would be that would be already happening.
This place is out.
And a couple more. Okay, well, any
I was
brewery
interrupting
is
the
gonna be,
teacher.
any brewery's gonna be in a, unfamiliar, probably.
Right.
How many did you think came to the 40?
Close to 200.
Yeah,
And part of why we thought we'll keep it in Edina.
Yeah.
So everybody knows how to get there.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's,
Agreed.
I was gonna-
I agree,
I was
I hate to
gonna
say that, but we're getting that age.
Well, now we're gonna ask the people who haven't left, because I see that all the time. Would it be important, though, if you're coming back, to be able to come back to Edina and be around in the area? You know, I mean,
Yeah.
if you haven't been back for 20 years.
Kitty, didn't you and Mary go down memory lane of the streets and the houses? and- Yeah.
that was her, I think that was both of them.
Yeah.
So is it a value to, so we just plan to need a couple of, yeah. Is it a value to have a place where there is places to stay? Would we expect people coming in from out of town to need hotels?
I think they can do it on their own.
I do too.
Yeah, it's family members, friends.
I was thinking about that, because if we got a hotel.
Yeah.
You could stay there, but I don't think there was an issue last time.
I think that is so expensive.
And also under the umbrella is simple, you know, I mean, it's just like.
And some people make breakfast the day after.
Everybody's
Yeah,
gonna
Well,
get
that was another thing we
Yeah.
planned over.
Too complicated, much work.
To have
We're talking about 20
everybody
people.
bring
that'd be one.
something.
Whatever,
We'll park
and just say,
afterwards.
let's see.
Yeah.
Whoever,
But that's all weather for me.
yeah.
That's what's always so scary. It's like, if you wanna do a big outdoor thing, or we even threw out about, well, what about a street dance, like, we used to. It's like, who knows what the weather will be, so it's better to have,
Well, it's kind of like the gym throughout Friday night, we meet at, Bunny's,
Yeah.
yeah.
for whoever wanted to.
But then it was
Probably.
part of the.
Right.
Right, wasn't part of the unit. It gives people an opportunity to.
Yeah, one more touch.
Well, we did a thing too at, Braemar at the clubhouse on that Friday, and then later, people went to go to Bunny's too.
That's why Highland or Braemar or one of those places.
It's all close.
So we could be in or out, it doesn't matter.
So what's the Highland and what's the one in Network?
That's.
Centerworth, but it's part of the Minneapolis part.
Yeah, I know,
It's called the trail.
the trail, and that's not
It's
just
a
the
newer
trail.
building.
Yeah, it's a big building.
Okay.
Yeah.
It has, if anybody's been to, what is it, Mill Valley,
Yeah,
the old what was, when we were kids, the bar that used to be there.
Oh,
Al's Bar. Some of us may have gone there after
I
graduation.
don't know about it.
But, at that side is is the restaurant, and then they have their satellite restaurant is at this trailhead. So
Oh, is
order
it?
your
Oh,
own.
okay.
You do, so you can get beer and wine and food. And it's not $5 hamburgers. It's been here.
But like Highlands too, I mean, that's nice. And
And
Phyllis
they have
knows,
service there, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
Phyllis knows
Yeah,
the
we have
person
a-
there.
yeah,
So
we
you
have-
work
Yeah,
there.
they had really good, they had good food.
They do, they actually do.
So I would
It's like
like
a
to
burger.
suggest the way forward here is for you to commit to researching one of these or a couple of these places. And get possible dates, as we have heard some of the places we can't book.
But at least get an idea of price.
So we need possibility dates and we need prices, and those prices, we need to go with what is what is it cost for the event space? What are the regulations around food?
Yeah, and great.
And drink. I have read in some places where bringing in your own drink is problematic.
Right, that's what we found with the NAB dynamite.
Right. Which is why having a place with drink already set up has its advantage.
Right.
But at Ant Lake and Ogilvy, they got, you can bring.
I can, you check it out.
Perfect.
Highland
Like it.
is yours.
Phyllis.
And to know the cost, you need to know the time frame. So you're thinking a Saturday night,
In August,
Saturday
to make it simple.
at like
I think last time it worked out good. That was, everybody liked it.
Yeah, what is the time frame?
Yeah, so Saturday night to,
I think it wasn't that late. I think it was till 10 or 9:30. Because then some of us wandered over to Pinstripes.
Yeah.
They were open later, but you know, it was, the hours were set by the.
I mean,
About
we
5
just-
to 10,
huh?
5 to 10.
So that makes the question about whether we're interested.
Oh, okay.
Are we interested at all in decorations?
So that's a cost.
It's a cost.
I mean, I would do decorations, we have this, dollar store.
Yeah.
But even,
I don't even need a lot of decorating.
yeah,
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
I-
chairs, it's just
I-
people.
That would be a piece that I would completely let go of. I Really.
but see,
not
I'll
interested.
kind of.
I don't think we need to do the loose and.
One of the things that I've been talking with Linda Hines Block about, because she has kept the book of memory, all of those, from our class who have died.
Well, Jane Wells died last year.
Yeah,
Jim Brogan just died.
yeah, General, I saw that.
Who else besides Jim Morgan?
Jay Wall, James,
Yeah.
Mike Wilsey died.
Very well.
Mary Rose
Yeah.
died. since
I
our-
think,
it's
yeah,
been a year.
she has
Oh, and Tommy
actually,
Cabot.
she's kept up on the whole.
Okay, so is she willing to take on
A
that?
little bit of a odd behavior, but, yes.
So she's covered.
Well, she's got records, and photos. She has captured obituary photos. And any comments that have been left on the in memoriam pages on obituaries, she has compiled all of them.
Oh, my God.
Good.
It is good, because that whole piece of work doesn't need to be done. What we've talked about is how we engage with that. And, being that my background, I've done more funerals than I care to have, and you all know this, because you've all been to funerals where a family will put together a photo board, and display that. And we were thinking that might be, a good way to do this, to have multiple boards. We'd have 2 or 3 or 4 on each one of those boards, and then people can, mill about.
Yeah.
And have conversation of, rather than hide it. because
Oh,
wildlife
yeah, I
is-
like that.
we're all on our way, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we did for the 40th. Somebody named,
I
it was in the corner and it was all set up and people did go over.
Yeah,
there and they
yeah.
were, you know.
Engaging, yeah, good, yeah. So what we need with that, and this isn't an immediate need, but you might wanna think about it, is are you wanting and able to create those lists with all of Linda's information?
Yeah. Yeah.
One of the things I was also wondering about is, they're on that classmates.com, is that what it is, classmates.com? Whatever
Whatever
that
that
is.
is, the website.
Yeah, we do have opportunities to leave remembrances for people. To encourage that activity between now and then. So that people realize that they have that opportunity and will use it. Sure, we can use those.
So how do we activate that? Just start emailing?
So I learned how. This is the part of being in charge I don't like. I do have access now. But, so we can start, we can email the entire class. As you saw, I emailed some of you. And that worked out. Yeah, okay, when you got that email, did it have my personal email reply on it?
There was no way to reach you.
That's the thing that I can't figure out
There it is,
how to
so-
thank you.
You have to add it on your signature.
Okay,
Right, that's when you sit down.
well, I do have it on my signature. But when you do this from the page,
No, it's do not reply.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's.
And that's a drop down, and I drop it down, I put my email in it, and it still doesn't come up. Because I do want you to reply. So some of you, I did put my email in somewhere. Did I
don't know that.
see
I
that?
think it was down below.
Yeah,
I like that.
I saw it
Down the
somewhere.
whole thing.
Okay.
I think I missed it.
But somehow, I mean, like the survey went out to go to everybody.
Right, so,
That initial survey.
yeah, and we can do that. We can
Yeah,
keep doing
We
that.
should you should work on having just making a group, so you've got everybody's actual, so you can, I like that, just go back, right back and forth to each other.
Yes, I do on my computer now.
Yeah.
So,
Thanks for all the workshops.
Yeah.
Really.
well, thank you for saying so, and, again, I'm just coordinating, so.
It seems to me, sorry,
Go ahead.
it seems to me that we have new technology that we didn't have
Right.
10, 20, 40, 50 years
Trying to
ago.
Maybe ask for some
And
interest.
Well, and I was thinking even with the in memoriam, or even putting a camera so people who don't make back could zoom in and we could all wave and, I mean, it seems like we should be using some of this.
I think so.
Agree.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that, well, so I have a need for us to be able to put together maybe some videos, preliminary videos, inviting people, showing our faces. And inviting people, and that's what I'm gonna, you might be able to do. Be able to help
Get some
us.
character actors.
Right, is that?
What do you mean?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I think she's casting right now.
Need some hand models or something.
And
No, I
that, when we, so I understand this, I don't know if it's true, that the only, physical mailing is the save the date. Is that the only mailing you guys put out? That's what I was led to do.
So I
Mail
don't,
and
I
regular
remember-
mail.
In the regular mail,
Yeah.
save the date.
I remember 10 years ago saying, why are we spending money on mail?
And that's
Everybody's
okay.
got email.
So you all can decide that one, because I have no clue where the money comes from to do that anyway. But we do need to do a save the date in some way.
And I
And-
think online.
And I was wondering about the possibility, because I know in fundraising, the personal touch is always important. If we could in that save the date, if each of us would think about the possibility of signing our name on to a personal invite to people. So think about your sphere of influence.
Well, what happened,
Who are those people?
as I recall, so 10 years ago, there were people that maybe we hadn't heard back from or something, and so several people volunteered to, I'll take those 10 names,
Yeah.
I'll track them
Yes.
down, I'll call, and they had huge response.
Yes.
And also heard stories that had never been shared and will never be shared, because not everybody had a good time in high school.
That's exactly.
So, you know, but it was powerful because some of those same people came anyway.
High school was,
I think your picture and your video idea would really bring people in if they see a whole group saying, we can't wait to see ya or something. I think that would really suck people in. and go, you know what, I'm gonna go.
it would be, actually, I mean, like I said, I was only at the 10-year, I had to miss the rest of them. But that would help me.
It'd be fun to do that, like with a bunch of us, with some of the other people we know that said, oh, I'll help, just let me know.
But couldn't make it today.
Oh,
Right.
gosh, yeah, no,
Right.
exactly, I mean, and maybe there'd be different.
Different groups.
Yeah, yeah, so, yeah.
being as far out as we are and as enthusiastic as we all are right now, to me, it's a both, it's an and, right? I mean, yes, we should do a fun video kind of thing, but the personal invitation, I'm with you on that too. If we had a list, it's sort of make work for somebody, but if we had a shared document with a list that we could put our name, you know, like you said, I hate to say this,
So
of
y'all-
the people who are still around.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
y'all
so
do
many of my friends.
Google Drive. Y'all
Right,
do-
we could
all
do a
do
Google share
Drive,
thing.
So we can do a shared document and keep adding information into that, our contacts, the people I was talking to.
Yeah.
Am I not hearing positive from everybody?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have Phyllis working on Highland. Who's gonna work on Braemar?
I can work on Braemar.
Thank you very much. I can send you the name of. the-
Yep, yep.
Okay, so that's-
And you're gonna work on the Worth Trailhead then? Or do you wanna
Is
give
that
to
too
somebody
far
else?
out?
I don't think so. I think it's a great spot. I mean, I'm willing to go northeast Minneapolis to a brewery.
Yes.
My issue with that is drinking and driving,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that distance, you know, without getting up. Bus.
well, I think a lot of people got it first.
You got a party bus. that just-
Well, that's what, yeah.
Bring people home.
Pub crawl.
That with
I
that,
think it is a little too far out.
Oh, my
do
God.
we have the issue of, alcohol?
They serve it there.
They do serve it there, okay.
I think it might be
We don't have
You
spent-
know what? I just want, I'm just gonna put that out there. We're at that age where I don't think, let everybody's problem be their own problem.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm willing to say that, 'cause
Yeah.
I don't drink it.
I don't,
There's Uber and.
yeah, there's all kinds of stuff. I
We'll
think-
see, we'll see.
yeah.
I mean, I think that's a good backup. I mean, I don't know what everybody's thinking.
Like say it's gonna be
Highlands of Braemar
crazier
might be our
than
first.
I like it because those are easy in outs, everybody knows where they are.
Yeah.
Well, I like where the board was, I thought that worked really, really
Yes.
well.
Million, yeah.
Where was that?
Centennial Lake.
Centennial Lake.
You know, it's Centennial Lake.
That was really nice, cause you had a second one door
I
area.
suppose if we went back to the same place, that would make it easier.
Is that what, is that the
little
one right
building.
there, the little, and that worked for the.
Oh,
the
and
number
there was
of
the
people
whole outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as
All
long
the
as the
lakes and
weather is
everything.
good.
When it's inside.
I know, but it's.
Yes.
Right, well, you had to do the catering and you had to do the alcohol, so all of that.
More expensive, yeah, if you don't have that at the site.
Chowbella is close by there and stuff.
That's tiny.
But right, I mean, that's where Highlands.
That's what?
Braemar
That's a little
are nice.
tiny
Yeah.
Well, I mean, just for people want to go to dinner. and-
Right.
For,
Like I said, the class before us is doing it, so we'll get
Where are they doing it?
74 at Braemar. Yeah, so that's August.
And
Class
class
of
of
72
72 did Braemar too. Class of 72 did a Friday night thing and then a Saturday night at Braemar. And, the Braemar was really well attended Friday night.
Well, there's plenty of parking there.
Oh, yeah.
I just remember from the 40th, we didn't wanna have to take on all this extra planning and somebody was like, what about a golf thing? And it's like, yeah, people can do their own. We just
Yeah.
wanted to have one night
I
together.
agree.
Yeah.
That's why I
Like-
said
like
other
kitties
people can
are like
kind of connect.
Kathy, so you start making it all, and then all of a sudden you have too many things.
Yeah, I like the idea of we're all big adults now. And, you know, here's where it's gonna be, you figure out how to get there and get home.
Yeah.
You know, that,
And we will, so I mean, until that's the next piece then, and we will have there. And those are our sort of our tiers of expense.
Yeah.
What is it we're going to have and what do we believe we want to ask people to pay for?
So I had one,
That takes research.
I had one question along that same line. What did you do for, now we have Venmo and all kinds of weird stuff. What did you guys do for finances? Like when people donated, how did you do that?
That Jim did that, so I don't know how they did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because someone would have to set up, if we had an
there is
account,
an account and we have money.
if there's an
there is an
account,
account.
and we could add Venmo to it, then give it Venmo.
Yeah.
I'm not a big Venmo owner, but suddenly you took my phone at a concert and said, you know, I have Venmo, like here, I'll put it.
Right.
Is it a 401(c)(3)? 501.
I don't know what it
I
is, but it's
I mean, are the donations tax deductible?
I think they're just.
That we could make it a giant tax scam, make it a charitable.
I don't know, I believe.
You take care of that, baby. Figure that out.
But I also believe that, you know, people who can should be asked.
to donate.
Yes.
Oh, why not?
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
I know it's going back to the businesses and thinking about how all the, our parties, you know, graduation parties, all that. That you would think there would be some businesses that would feel like the.
Yeah.
Like give away a car?
No, I wasn't thinking,
That
I was
was
thinking
our
about
way, but.
just going on beer.
And we can, I am not at all. Too shy to, put up advertising posters, you know, X, Y, and Z donated to this event. You know, and have that well publicized at the event and at our website.
Well, one of the
Oh,
things
there, go do that.
for that last one, because we had had the 30th was at Interlochen. And we didn't want to do big fancy country club together. It was very nice that Tim Carter got us access, but it was not the right thing. So we wanted to make sure it was casual, it did not have to be buying all new clothes and trying to look your best and getting a suit and all that stuff. And low cost. And once we had to sell X number of tickets, once we got that, we were covered.
Can I ask what low cost means to us?
Well, back then it was, I think, 40 or something. It was hard to
At
get it
30.
less than that.
Right.
40? Yeah, I think so.
For interlocking?
Yeah.
35 for sure.
Last year.
The last,
Yeah,
last,
last
last.
year,
last-
yeah.
So is it $40?
Per
It was
person,
around there.
yeah.
I'd have to look
How
at.
much did pinstripes make you, or how much did that for stock?
I don't know, but we paid more because we had them come 3 times, so there was never no food. Because what we found in the past is that when people would come, like maybe they had dinner beforehand and it's a little later at night, well, there's no food and they paid to have some food. So Pinstripes was there and they were pretty much the same cost as the other options. Megan Kavanaugh did all that research
So
on the cost.
is there anybody here who's interested? I got Robin, Swenson more in on that. Do you want to work with her on getting, food pricing? I guess that.
It depends where it is,
Where-
right?
where-
Yeah.
Right,
We'll
well,
do that in time.
Well, like, not to interrupt, but like Braemar, I mean, when I can ask them, and even the 74 people is, okay, what is your cost? They know it now, because it's in a couple of months. So I mean, I can narrow it down with
Yeah,
you know,
we'll
what they're
together, right.
doing, and then, you know, yeah, okay, so,
Yeah, Braemar usually get full really quick, I mean, because they're doing a bunch of them.
yeah.
so is anybody out of our list, can we book it now or
No, that's what I found out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So,
So, and Highland Soup, boy, that's crazy because
Do they want to separate?
Well, I would love to have this pinned down before that.
Yeah, well, I'll call Radar again, just. Yeah.
Who do we know?
I'll work on that one. Okay,
Have our people call their people.
We know.
yeah, we know. Well, I'll just.
I've been gone too long.
Maybe my brother.
At the end.
That's a wedding, that's weddings.
We're gonna pay
I don't think we should. Good. But it's my house.
And then first of all, we said,
Are there other people like that?
Yeah. I'm gonna-
Now it's somebody else. Sure. Excuse me, Toddy.
I don't see names on the side or anything.
Oh, it's a whole different department that deals with.
And that's- yeah, yeah.
It's not the golf.
It's not,
Okay.
And it's
I
not
do,
the
I do,
arena.
the idea of having a place where the, trucks could come.
I like that idea.
Well, so is that
I like that idea.
not an option?
It might be
Even with a place like right
Well, in like a place like to go to Surly over by the U.
Yeah.
A lot of people know I'm from the U.
I think that I'm still thinking
There's
that's.
so
that's a
many
great
different
fun
places.
option.
It's just, I think. it
I
needs
just
to be
don't like
easy
going
to
down
do.
town and all those places on Saturday night.
Surrey's not that bad.
I know, I just gotta,
It's not that big.
I'm gonna throw this out
Yeah.
there.
No one wanna go
You're
to-
talking about all suburban people that are
Yeah.
67 years old, that,
They aren't gonna wanna do that.
no.
Yeah.
And 200 of
Sounds like fun.
You got Excelsior Brewing Company in Excelsior, that's really nice.
You know, that's what we, the
Excelsior Brewing.
us.
In Excelsior, downtown Excelsior, and they got a huge lot, but you know what, that's a drive, you know?
Yeah.
Well, and.
Even though everybody used to go out to Lake Minnetonka, you know?
On that note, because we are older, we don't, I guess I want people to not have the excuse of, oh, you know what?
It's too far away, I wanna drive.
Do I really want to go down there? Rather than, hey, it's right at Braemar,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go for an hour, which will save a little time.
I
You know what I mean?
Guys, going easy access makes a big
How many
difference.
people are we gonna be? You're on 200. 200?
Yeah,
That's what we had
start with
last
200,
time.
yeah.
So 150 to 200.
And we need to know, how much money we need to have. Up front.
We do know what we have now.
There's some seed money to put
Yes,
down
there
payments.
is some seed money. I think it's in the $2,000.
Yeah, it was just over 2,000.
Oh, I think you guys said 200.
Don't know.
That's
Which was
nice.
amazing because
The
again,
grand, you got
thanks
for
to
the whole
Jim
party.
It was in the hole. When we planned for the last.
Jim still hasn't paid himself back for a few things, he said.
Can we do food trucks at Q's pavilion? Just cut down a whole bunch of.
So it would be fun. I don't know that because it's just that turnaround.
I just think.
Put food trucks in the turnaround.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, just because other people use that
And they
space, though, too.
They
You know,
could buy food.
But I get it down, but it's worth it.
So, I mean, anybody who's down there hanging out on a Saturday night.
Yeah, I can have that food truck. When you use to, yeah.
Well, yeah,
food
that's-
Trucks there,
I've never seen food trucks there when they do their art sales, when they do their
You know,
food
they,
serves.
I think other people would come out to it.
Yeah, that's.
You know, well, but I mean, for them, but you know what I mean, if they're trying to get out of us, having people, we don't want, taken out.
Well, at Highlands and at Braemar, they have their own food service. So
Yeah.
And they're good and they
people
look
can
good.
walk up and order their own food and
Yeah.
beverage anyway, right? And we can choose to do it that way.
I think you have to let them know we're gonna guarantee you're gonna have this much, they can say.
Yeah.
But can people, we don't have to have a prearranged, you're gonna get this, they can
We'll
walk
have
up
to
and
figure
choose
out.
what they want from there.
If you're at Braemar, you're renting out the event space.
Yes.
And so it just depends on what they, what their rules are, how they work.
So that's the questions when you're calling,
Yeah.
and please, those of us who haven't jumped up to say, we wanna, we know the spot, if you think of a spot. Or if you wanna pursue one of these breweries, call them up and ask them, and ask those questions. What do we need to guarantee? What do you provide? The other question is some of the event spaces, also are, your time, what time do you want, and if you have this much time, it's X number of dollars, if you have this much time, it's X number of dollars. So we need to be able to be a little flexible within that. So we'd like to start at six-ish, is that what we kind of were thinking? But if, you know, we need to start at 5. Right. Then we need to, I think we need to be flexible in that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't know, but I would assume that 6 to 10, if that's the event, we might still need 5 to 10.
Right, so
Since
we
it's
need to
seven
ask
and all
that
so-
question. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, we need to ask those
That's
questions.
why we don't wanna do too many decorations.
No,
We have to
No.
take them.
Yeah.
I'm hoping the only thing we're gonna need to set up is our in memoriam and our welcome table.
Yeah. Named, yeah.
I
I still have mine. According to Barb, she said I couldn't give mine away the last time, so it's in my safety deposit fund. And you say that for next time. Okay.
Yeah, I kept it, I just don't remember when we moved.
So, another dumb crazy question is, does the school have anything? The
I
bands,
was thinking that.
the bands and the theaters or any of those people? I mean, think about all the old
Right.
cut shows. I mean, wouldn't it be fun to pull some of the,
Yes, it would be, wouldn't it be?
I
That's
was
the
thinking though
decoration.
about, it's now the Edina Community Center.
I thought you were gonna
well, I thought about having it
I
there.
thought he was gonna say have it at the old high
If
school.
you let them have alcohol.
Like alcohol.
Food would be easy, but-
Yeah, he's like alcohol.
Would that be kind of a kid?
No, no, I thought it
The
would.
French immersion school and then the.
Who wants to ask, call them up and ask that question?
I think I've never heard about it, but the Edina Historical Society, the older
Well,
ones, don't they have a?
The secret, Edina
It's-
senior.
It's very small.
And
But historic,
Yeah,
it's
it's-
in the.
But
in
the
the-
Edina senior, you know, the.
Right by the library?
Yeah, I wonder if it's only 200, I wonder if they have a pretty good space.
Tricky parking.
Tricky
Yeah.
parking, parking's bad, parking. There's an Edina senior center.
Senior center. It's so sad. You're
Next time,
Next time
right?
soon.
Maybe for the.
They may not be-
Next
they may
time.
not be able to hold 200, so maybe 60.
75, we'll do it 75.
Yeah.
Why not have handicap spaces?
Have a handicap, you're only parking there.
Oh, you live in there.
Oh.
Ask the senior center, now, the high school's not,
I've been an
Real,
election
right?
judge down there, it's not that big,
So the senior center is the bottom part of the
it's the bottom part.
library, right?
bottom part of what?
The library, that library up on,
By Jerry's.
Jerry by
Like
Jerry's.
Jerry's kind of,
The parking.
Brand
I was
new.
joking.
Oh, in Grandview Apartments there.
We don't ever get on
My
that
grandma's over there.
Yeah, that's west
And that
side.
was never in there.
First you were in the Jersey.
That whole lot is like.
So you used to live on the west side.
What's that?
Didn't you used to live on the west side,
Yeah,
even when you were in?
when I was a kid, I was in Cahill, we lived on Duder.
I don't think these guys understand. We don't ever go across Highway 100. We don't ever go into Minneapolis. We don't.
We're kind of narrowing
So-
it back down to Braemar or maybe Highland. There you go.
Okay, so I do want to do save the date as soon as we have the date and place, so
Yes.
let's even.
and are you saying an August date?
I think so, aren't you thinking that?
I think
It
it's.
seemed like it worked well last time.
Kind of end of summer, kids are quite in school, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be beginning of September, but I still think that still gets dicey,
The cabin crowd, August is kind of winding down.
yeah.
Yeah.
When do people get their docks out? Since I've never.
September, October, yeah.
I don't know anything about that. So, yeah, Labor Day.
So it's definitely sometime in
Maybe not
August. and-
Definitely not a holiday.
Yeah, not a holiday.
So that's why I think September looks like.
And are we thinking Saturday nights probably the?
I think Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, all the out of towners can get here on Friday,
Yeah.
get out on Sunday, and I
Okay.
think, unless we can't find a place.
We'll go anyways.
That I'm not ready.
Okay, I'm finished with my list. Who else has got something?
So then we decide on a date, would be a good.
We're gonna
It'll
kind of get it
depend
back.
on the place.
Yeah.
Kind of depends on the venue.
Right, but kind of a general. ballpark.
August of 2025.
Are you looking at Saturday night? Let's see if anyone.
Right, like we did
volunteers.
that, yes, 6
Yeah.
to the 23rd.
I would go too close to Labor Day.
I'd
The
say
people
six,
could-
How could you say nine?
If I
nine-
go-
Maybe on the first.
I know, but yeah, but it's 23rd, you're talking that someone on a 2-week trip.
Yeah.
Up there.
How about Saturday
Oh.
night, it's the ninth or
Saturday, the
Saturday
ninth
night,
through
the
the
16th?
I think the night of the 16th
Next
is
year.
there. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that.
16th,
I
okay.
think a little earlier is probably better than later.
Yeah.
But
August
that's
9th.
my opinion.
I agree with you.
I go either time, I don't care.
Right, I like that.
I'm just trying to think if there's like some building that's not being used that, like, I don't know, anybody uses.
Sport Authority.
Penguin Party. But there used to be a fundraiser called Night of the Penguin Party, and they go into these buildings that weren't quite rehabbed yet, or they were getting rehabbed, like the old Young Quinlan building.
Okay.
And then they do a big fundraiser, you get all that stuff, and I used to see land rituals, and, I mean, are there any empty spaces around the need?
Yeah, I like that. The only other thing-
There's a lot of
and that's
empty
where we get
spaces, I
food trucks, you know, I empty space would be great, but then we'd have to bring in so much unless.
Well,
it
right,
was
then
food
you'd have to
trucks.
rent.
Yeah, so,
Chairs.
yeah, and so this way it's,
Yeah,
you think, sorry.
yeah, no,
Well, sure, I did.
not at all. Oh, but I want to wait. Thinking.
And the whole, it's involved.
Yeah,
Right.
sure.
It's really, it's like, you know, for a lot of people, it's really about, you know, getting together, talking. This is for another conversation, but I know at the other reunions, they have done a little bit of the elementary school spin-off kind of things that, you know, that's down the road. But,
I know.
you know, once we get back in.
Some of that's good, but like in the interlocking one, I think it's just. built
It went on too
low.
long, I agree.
Like you're trying to track people, they're just.
Yeah. Yeah.
John, you brought up something interesting though about using anything from the high school. Like, maybe we already have, you know, welcome Edina grads banners, or maybe they have something from the band or something, you know.
Or even the graduation party of the graduates who graduate
Right.
25.
Yeah,
know,
check
the-
on that.
Yeah, Barbara,
You know,
I
they
checked on
did
that,
stuff.
once. Let's repurpose that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, if there
Anybody
is a-
steal stuff from our graduation parties? I just uncovered
Cover
it.
it now.
I
Yeah,
did.
If I did, I don't remember.
I just, yeah. That is so exactly.
There you go, we could have it out of Medina Ballroom.
And Medina.
That was a horrible
Just have to
space.
put everybody on a bus.
Well, wouldn't that be funny though?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not simple, it's not easy. So what if we did have, if we said that the party was at the old high school, but when everybody gets there, we put them on a bus and we drive them out to Medina. The whole, remember, we went in that crazy route to the north,
Yeah,
where we're going.
I think after they've been drinking, it might be okay.
Coming home, we come back to say.
Or you'd have to hand them a drink when they got on.
Oh my God. Oh, so if you remember Doug Wonder, right?
Yeah, I
His
talk to
young-
Doug all the time, three
So
times
his
a
younger
week.
sister Julie is very involved with the Edina Historical, so I'll check with her as far as this decorations idea. Are there any resources?
And I'll do 74 if they have anything. It's like, I'll come and pick it up, you guys, because I can start
And just, you know.
steal stuff. See, that's why it's called stuff. But there we go.
I don't know anybody who graduated from this. Anybody, because I mean, it would be back, how do we connect to the parents who are doing the 25? The kids who are graduating next June, those parents, if we could connect to them and say, hey, whatever.
They're not our color. Oh,
They're kind of a. You say colors?
Well, green, white, they throw it, we can pull it.
That's true.
Let's say they have yellow in it.
oh, good idea though.
Okay.
There's plenty of stuff in the band, and all that.
Yeah, I think that's the way to do it. We'll figure out. That's a good brainstorming this.
And that band director seems like such a great guy. What's his name?
Bob Milliker?
No, the present band director. He's just a really great guy.
I have to tell this quick story. These guys know it, but for our, what was the one that we read at the Metropolitan? And so we had the idea of having the Edina, you know, drums, doing, you know, the Edina songs, cadence as we're coming in. So that was my thing. You know, contact with the person. So now I'm there early and they're showing up. There's man there, and I'm like, you know, thank you so much for coming and organizing this. This is really great. We're really, you know, do I pay you? Blah, 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 blah. And he looks at me, he's like, well, no, Sue, I'm Scott Johnson, so I'm in your class. Right, I'm off to a bad start. I haven't even gotten in the door. So anyway, but that was fun.
We gotta let go of the whole not recognizing each other.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
We're all beautiful people, but we do not look like we once did.
Yes, we should not. All right.
Okay, thank you. Anything else for the good of the cause today?
So I can get your initial email.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so put anybody who didn't, put your email somewhere in my piece of paper. Okay, we need my yearbook.
Kathy, is there more people in the group? Is somebody on here watching?
There should be, Joanne Oss wanted to watch the recording. We're recording it so that they can
Oh,
watch later.
nobody's watching
I
live.
don't think we got anybody
Oh,
on right
Say,
now.
I don't see
but
any
no,
names here
no,
usually. that
but
pops up.
I'm
It's like-
recording it.
But
So
who else is in our team?
Jean, Zion, Shelby,
Zion?
she's out.
Oh, sure, she's
She's
on
out
this now.
east. And Missy,
Stone.
nope,
Yes, the next.
Missy Stone is a fabulous resource.
yes,
Yes, she
yeah.
is.
She does all kinds of graphics
Yeah.
and stuff like.
Yeah.
Yeah, Missy Maxine, she's way out in the islands on the west coast.
Shout out to Seattle.
Yeah.
Red Coat said he helped out too.
Okay, so if you know those names, please write them on my piece of paper. Cause I will loop people in.
Yes, Sharon.
Yeah, I have Sharon's, she's on there.
Terry came.
Terry's on there.
Yeah, there'll be all sorts of people who lend a hand once we get.
Yeah, what's,
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be really more that. Date and what.
Yes, thank you. So
Which is why I tried to get a head start. So it's no bad. No, no.
And maybe with, between Bremer and Highlands, we might be able to.
Yeah, well,
And Phyllis, I'd like to,
yeah.
to just double check with Suzanne. Hey Gabby's kind of her assistant. I don't know if you have-
How long you had this email?
Uh-huh.
How'd you get that out?
There's not that many Tom Sawyer's on the
I
planet.
suppose, huh?
Not very many.
Should we try and figure out another date?
Yeah, yeah, and I was just thinking about that, and
Funny thing about it, I have a nephew named Kim.
how much time do you think we need to gather some information? So that we don't plan a day too early and have nothing. Although getting together is great fun, so there's that too.
Well,
So,
4 to 6 weeks.
okay. Getting the end of June.
that sounds good.
Before 4th of July.
And
Yeah,
that'll give, you'll be
Yeah.
able to, contact and the information from the point,
That's
board.
Yep.
But there will be.
Is this time very good? You have yours, but.
But,
Yeah.
It's okay, time. Good.
we talking the 24th?
24th of what?
What
now?
Wait a minute. Front of the meeting.
Say 24th, the days out.
That's Monday or whatever.
Okay.
Anyone who can come that day, reach me.
There's a discussion going on. We missed all, I missed all of this.
Oh.
June 24th,
next
Monday,
meeting.
June
Oh, we're getting back
24th.
together with this group?
Yeah.
And you wanna keep it here?
Anytime you're gonna put emails together with our email,
Yeah.
book everybody in, let us know what you need to do.
She tried to get the table that's made of some.
Oh, there.
Hit reply to all.
Beautiful table in there, but people were at it. And I did ask about some reason, not very good.
I'm don't make any good afternoon for
I-
faster than morning.
I can come early and drive it.
Oh, okay.
So what about like 1:32?
Who could come at 7 a.m.?
Later than that.
Not me. Hold the table 3 hours.
Bring coffee.
Does like 1 or 1:30 work for everybody?
On the 24th? Yeah,
In
Sure.
general?
in general. John
Some of us
needs to work.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'll be out of town.
For that. Can't you take a
Oh,
vacation?
either or.
Yeah, but, well, if it works for
How
us.
much vacation do you have?
Oh, here, I call every.
So what time did you decide?
Where's mine?
No, I passed that all around so you can take a look at.
Oh, and then I have, I know.
1:30.
Will 1:30 work on that Monday? Yes? Okay, I'm gonna write 1:30 then.
Okay,
No date, but.
Here?
So
Did you hear it?
Yeah, this is a great spot. Works for me.
Yeah.
1:30.
Parking lot won't be so busy then.
Oh.
Oh, in the lot, yeah.
A friend of mine, his 50th birthday.
Yeah.
They went to Hawaii, so his 50th birthday, Hawaii 5-0. We should have, you know, why not? Hawaii 5-0,
I
right?
took my wife to Maui for her first time to Hawaii.
Yeah.
It's like a couple months ago.
Nice.
Saw the whales and did all this stuff.
Nice. You've been there before?
I think, yeah.
So anybody listening to this recording Monday, June 24th, 1:30 in this spot, correct?
Central time.
Central time, yes. Definitely.
I had to put the arrow.
County.
Well, thank you so much.
County dance.
That was nice. I can't do very good. I had a stroke.
That's good.
I gotta hear it.
Yes.
Good,
Doing pretty good.
very good.
You would know it for you. And I have everybody's information I need to have.
Just a month.
So
ago.
if
Oh,
we're
wow.
like, him and I or whatever, when we.
Yeah, so I work
get
in Methodist
information,
in the ER and we were at the airport. We were gonna fly out to Sedona. And my wife is a nurse also. And so she saw my face drooping and, my arm. So I got-
Okay.
Yeah, we should write that down.
My brother-in-law circled back. We got right to Methodist. Got the blockbusters and blew it out. And so I recovered almost completely. I have a little visual neglect and my hearing. That's your.
Email?
Yeah,
That's.
Yeah, well, on a sad note, this is a sad note. I work at Methodist and my wife is an oncology nurse at Methodist. Several of our classmates are very, very sick right now. They're super sick.
Really?
Of our classmates. You know, you can't say who, but. It's too bad.
turn that off.
It's okay.
You know how to turn it off, Larry?
Is there a stop meeting?
Yeah.
Karen McCurdy is.
I had heard that.
Oh, no.
It's that end meeting on the far right.
Where?
Wait,
Sure.
what-
I don't have my glasses on, should have brought them.
Remember the McLean kids, Molly McLean, Dan McLean, Danny, just,